tiny, or big. This is the Brave New Wear Show.
Who am I? What is real? Is fashion important? Does clout exist?
Friends, welcome back to the Brave New Wear Show. My name's Christian. Today I'm talking about a fashion theory that comes to us from GQ, an article written by Rachel Tashjian, and I will include the link in the bio, and by that I mean the description. And what she proposes in the article is that the most interesting designers right now are doing one of two things. They're making items either really big or really small. And we can see this in the work of a lot of interesting designers. Demna is obviously doing it in a lot of regards, including the Triple S. Jacquemus is doing it with his teeny tiny bags or his oversized hats. We see it in Y projects, we see it in a lot of designers. And it doesn't just extend only to these bags, these shoes. We've got tiny sunglasses, which I've talked about in the past. We've got oversized tops, like oversized jackets or shirts. For one, the designers who are making waves in this whole big and small phenomenon are designers who are very familiar with the internet. These are meme lords. Obviously, Demna is very cognizant of the fact that when he does something ridiculous, it's going to create a lot of attention, not just from fashion insiders, but from people outside of fashion. And it's very obvious when something is proportioned in a very different way. You don't have to know fashion to understand that those sneakers look huge, or that bag is small. So the idea is it is separate from our concepts about silhouettes. Obviously, silhouettes come and go in the pendulum. Like, we'll see very slim silhouettes being very popular in transitioning to what is now very wide silhouettes are popular, and it kind of swings back and forth. But this trend seems kind of separate from those two ideas. We're not just simply talking about the cut of a garment. We're talking about the overall proportions and how it exists within the outfit. The Triple S is a huge sneaker regardless, and we pair it typically with wider, bigger clothing so that it fits kind of a whole aesthetic. But like with the Jacquemus bag, it is very deliberately teeny tiny. It is impractical, and it's comical but interesting. I think that he specifically plays with the proportions of things in order to inject his kind of ideas or fantasy, this whimsical vision of the south of France. And that includes his small bags, the mini Chiquito, that got smaller and smaller. And it includes his straw hats that are either big and flat, and there are some that even cross into so big that they flow over the model. And I think that that immediately forces some of his designs to kind of take on this surreal, dreamy aesthetic. It's comical and playful, but it plays with the pieces of this South of France aesthetic that are kind of already in the dialogue. For Demna, he does this a lot with a bunch of different, whether it's Vêtements or Balenciaga. Right now, Balenciaga, even as he's become less, say, ironic, he's still playing with the proportions of the shoulders. He's making them wider and wider. I think that he basically understands that all the garments that he's using have existed. He's somewhat of a fashion veteran. He worked for Margiela. He expressed kind of his frustration with fashion being too repetitive or commercial. And I think him playing with proportions allows him to take these garments that he knows, that everybody knows, and transform them in a way that makes you have to reanalyze them or look at them again. Both these designers, Demna and Jacquemus, recognize a sense of irony in their work. And like I mentioned, comedy or being a little more tongue-in-cheek is becoming more commonplace in fashion. It's not super serious. This is in part thanks to kind of the internetification of fashion. Y Projects has also done something like this. Think to their super tall Uggs that are like almost, what are they, like thigh height Uggs or like even knee height Uggs. Those take a very well-known shoe, a very popular boot, and it extends it and exaggerates it in a way where we're reanalyzing the entire thing. We're thinking about, would it be too hot to wear a shearling boot all the way up to our legs? It forces us to reanalyze kind of where this garment fits or what it is. We have to acknowledge it again. And of course, it has been memed because it seems so absurd, and it immediately crosses over. Like, anybody, even people who aren't interested in fashion, will recognize that this is kind of weird. Another piece that was mentioned in the GQ article is the Capital sloppy shirt. I love this piece. It's like a shirt that it really is, realistically, it's like a jacket, but it's shaped like a very huge shirt. And it's interesting because, practically speaking, its function is a jacket, but it takes the form and the silhouette of a shirt, kind of making you rethink that forms, those shapes. It's like somebody took the shirt and extended it.
Hey guys.
Hey,
Hey, what's up?
we're gonna go get some wine.
That's not the video.
And a can opener.
That's not the video. So, as a miniatures artist,
Yes.
why do you think tiny's important?
Tiny's important because big's important too. It's all about scale.
Wow.
To be gigantic is to have control over the universe, death itself. To be tiny is to feel small, but also be allowed in spaces that the large cannot fit.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Here's something that I think of when I'm thinking about tiny big art. Everybody knows persistence of a memory. It's a very big painting in terms of being popular, but in real life, it's actually very small.
Yeah.
It's framed.
Yeah.
The canvas is very small, which instead makes the painting more intimate,
Yeah.
and it makes it more like you're looking into Salvador Dali's dream.
Yeah, and I think like viewing something tiny forces a curiosity
Yeah.
because you know already that it requires an intimate perspective. Like your vision has to come close, and that is an invitation in itself.
I'm inviting you to look at my Jacquemus bag.
Yeah, you'd think by making something smaller that you'd lose out on detail, but in fact, because it is small, it invites you in.
You're
and-
paying more attention to the detail.
Exactly.
We've got the Jacquemus bag, Balenciaga triple S's, Y Project Uggs. We've got teeny tiny sunglasses. We've got small pearl jewelry for men. Even though I think that this is truthfully a trend, I'm wrapping my brain. I want to think of other examples that kind of exemplify this weirdness of proportions. Because proportionally, we've got, like I said, the silhouette stuff, but who else is making goofy, teeny or huge garments or items? Comment below, because I think that in some ways, even though I was so thrilled by the article I read, and I thought, oh yeah, that's so poignant and interesting, I think that this trend or idea is really underexplored in fashion right now. I want you to comment below if there are designers who are missing, who are doing absurd proportions in a similar way. Because I'm going through and editing the video, and I feel like I didn't say enough. Comme des Garçons, but what though?
Right, well, Rachel Tashjian's like giant shirts.
Yeah, but I think that she's more interested in proportions. Like she's looking at the female body and playing with the way that it's normally represented, like putting lumps all over it instead of accentuating the hips and curves of a woman. What other garments haven't been played in this way? Can we make pants be huge without just being wide? Can we wear like really big rings without it looking corny? I ask you because I think that this trend is kind of really on the precipice, and it might continue to be played with, and I'm curious what you guys think might be avenues in which we'll see big or small stuff happening. So, as always, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. I post every Monday, and let me know your thoughts, and follow me on Instagram, and I will catch you in the next episode.